Hi everybody, and welcome back to Kevin's Upfront Opinion. So today I thought I'd do this video, and I've been umming and ahhing about doing it because my view is, okay, it's basically a video on the worst mistake I ever made and what it taught me. And for quite a while I thought, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because all that's going to end up is I'm going to end up getting aggro off my wife if she sees it. I'm going to get aggro off my ex-girlfriend for doing it. And probably the daughter that I had with her. I thought, no, it's not worth it. The amount of aggro that I will get doing it will be ridiculous. And then I thought, I've got to do it. I've got to be honest with myself. You know, I've had enough mental health problems over the last 20, 30 years. And I thought, no, I've got to be true to myself. So a lot of people say to me, and I've had this said to me, because I've worked in the double glazing industry for over 20 years now. What's the worst mistake you've ever made? And the biggest mistake I ever made, and you could look at it from two ways. Okay. So it happened over 16 years ago. Okay, and it wasn't the day that my daughter was conceived or anything like that. Obviously, I'm not going to pretend she wasn't planned or anything like that. But no, it wasn't that. It was the way that me and her mother split up and how I didn't really fight. And I am guilty of that. I didn't really fight, and I should have. You know. And why? To be honest, I can't honestly remember. People, if my daughter came and asked me, I couldn't actually give her a true answer because I can't remember. And it's not because of the length of time. It's because of what I did to myself after it. You know, the bits and pieces I can remember. You know, it's like my ex-girlfriend said to me recently, but I was at all the scans. I can't even remember being at all the scans. I can remember being at one of them because I was a committee member at the League of Friends at this particular hospital for the maternity department. So I remember going to that scan when we found out that the placenta was low. So I still remember being at that appointment, but the rest of them, I don't really remember being there. But she says I was, so I'll take her word for that. But the thing I always regret, and I truly regret, is the way that we split up. What went on to happen afterwards and how I never really fought. Because I have no defense for it. I have zero defense for it. You know, and people can throw as much as they like and say, yeah, but you did what you could. It's still not good enough. You know, it's no different to what Jeremy Kyle always used to say on a Jeremy Kyle show. If I was in your position, on the Monday morning, I'd be down the courthouse petitioning the courts. And I didn't do that. And a lot of people would say, yeah, but Kevin, what did you do? What was so bad that you did? And it's not a case of what I did. It's not a case of that. It's a case of in a way, I manipulated, and it's really the wrong word, a woman that was 4 to 5 months pregnant. And that's wrong. That's categorically wrong. And when people ask me what I did, I sent a stupid text message to a woman that was about 4 to 5 months pregnant. When now the text message that I received from my ex-girlfriend Sophie basically said, "I will love you no matter what." That was the text message I received. And we'd been texting all day because I was due to go back to my mum's house because I'd had a bad epileptic seizure. I'd had really bad epileptic seizure, and she knew that. And she sent me this text message. And me being a juvenile jerk, sent her one back. I can't believe I sent this. I sent her one back saying, "What, even if I cheated on you?" And that's what I sent back. And she asked me several times if I did or had. And I told her, "No, never cheated on you." And I still stand by that. I never ever cheated on her. Now, there's a lot of women I have cheated on. My ex-wife, as an example, I did cheat on. Okay. But when it comes to Sophie, I never ever cheated on her. I never even dreamed of cheating on her. In my life, there's only ever been 3 women I've never cheated on. And I'll name them all. My first proper girlfriend, Alice. Rather enough of the jokes. Okay. Who lived in Weymouth, but worked for Boots in Dorset at the time. And that was about 2006. Sophie, who I was with from about 2008 to 2009. Never cheated on her. I never even considered it. And my existing wife, who I got with in 2014 and still with her to this day, never cheated on her. Never considered it. Now, other girlfriends in those periods, I won't deny it. Yeah, I cheated on every damn one of them. Do I feel bad for it? Absolutely. Should I have ever done it? Nah, it's not worth it. But doesn't condone what I did to Sophie. And one thing I can say is she got me back probably 100 times worse than what I did to her. Probably 100 times worse. And I've suffered every day since. Now, most people don't know because I've never really spoken to people. I only really started speaking about it after we got back in touch in May of this year, when we started talking, and I had a nervous breakdown, and even she doesn't know that I did. You know, I tried to pretend and act like everything was normal, even when we spoke and everything. Never wanted her to know. Maybe because that's ego of not wanting people to know. And it wasn't just because of her. There were other things involved in it. Things to do with business, things to do with my stepdaughter, but all added up to affecting how badly I went downhill really, really quickly. Now, a lot of people have said that I've been suffering for a long time, which there is an argument for. But the fundamental thing was, what did I actually learn from what I did to Sophie? And trust me, I feel guilty for it every damn day. And a lot of people have said to me, well, when I say a lot, it's about 3 or 4 people, because I didn't actually know they'd been told, because my wife was aware of the text message. Said that's because Sophie wanted to split up with you. That's the only reason she sent it. Maybe, maybe not. I don't honestly know. Maybe one day she'll come and tell me. Maybe she won't. Do I regret sending the text message? Every damn day. Sometimes I think, would have things been different if I'd never sent that text message? But there again, the other way I look at it is I wouldn't have my 5 other children. So it is what it is at the end of the day, and there's nothing I can do about it. The only things I can do about it is, one, basically apologise for what I did, which I have already done on numerous occasions, and hope that maybe one day that me and my daughter can make amends. And she doesn't really have anything to make amends for. It's a case that I do, because I've never been in her life. And that's what hurts, but I've never been there. And when I've been there every day for all the rest of my children, and I have never been there for her, that truly hurts. And even when, and this isn't her fault, and I do truly understand this, when she messaged me earlier on this month, at the beginning of this month actually, and said, would I mind waiting until after her exams? And like every day became like a year. And that's how it's felt. And a lot of people won't understand that, because I thought, right, she's got back in touch. And it's like every day is a living hell. And most people won't understand that. And I do, and I truly understand, because obviously she's going through her GCSEs at the end of the day. So I understand from that point of view. But what people don't understand is when you've gone 15 years without seeing your child, and then you're being asked to wait another 2 months. And one of the funny things is, I spoke to Sophie's sister the day that I had my breakdown. Truly sorry that I even bloody messaged her. I shouldn't have messaged her. I don't even know why I did. She said to me, if you can wait 15 years, surely you can wait 2 months. And she's got a point. She truly does have a point. But it's like you're going through hell all over again. You know, so the reality is, what have I actually truly learned? And this is the number one thing that I did learn. And I said this to my wife recently, and she didn't like it when I said it either. God, I got in trouble for that. I said that it taught me to be careful what I said, or what I say to a woman, especially if they're pregnant. Now, as I've already said, I've had 5 children with my wife. And my youngest daughter has Down syndrome. And we found out she had Down syndrome when my wife was 20 weeks pregnant. We didn't have the test or anything to check for Down syndrome. Found out because they noticed that she had a heart issue. And I remember at the 20-week scan, and they were going to check for the sex and everything. They said to us, would you mind coming back the next day? I said, yeah, fine. Well, my wife said, yeah, that's fine. We'll come back the following day. So comes back the following day, gets put in a room with this heart specialist. He was a twat. I mean, he was a right dick, right? And he lied for his teeth as well to make things worse. And I hope he has been sacked by Queen Alexandra Hospital, because he lied for his teeth to us. And all he did during the appointment was try and push us into having a termination. And the irony was, during the appointment, one of the diabetes specialists came in and got the appointment stopped because she realised that he was lying a tad. Got us put into like a family room and got us referred to the Princess Anne Hospital, which is a maternity hospital in Southampton, for those that don't know. And my wife said to me, and this is probably going to be a rarity, she put it on me. She made me to decide whether we terminated or we carried on with the pregnancy. And I appreciate that it said a lot out there that men have no say in that type of thing. And I'm going to be one of the few occasions where my wife refused to make the decision. And she said to me, "What do you want me to do? And I will do it." Okay. And I didn't know what to do because I knew nothing about Down syndrome. Never met a Down syndrome person, child or adult, in my entire life. Knew absolutely nothing about it. And I phoned up two people. One was my mother, one was my father. My father said, terminate. He said, just terminate. You will not be able to cope looking after a disabled child. My mother said to me, only you can make that decision. And I said to my wife, I said, look, we'll carry on. We'll go to the Princess Anne and we'll see what they say tomorrow. And because I said to her at the time, this is what I actually, and I also said to her, I said, the problem is if you go and terminate now, we've got to go and explain that to the other kids at home. And I don't know how I would do that. And maybe you can call that a chicken's way out. And I said, at least if you go through the pregnancy and the child dies at birth, like the heart consultant was claiming, at least you can have a funeral and the kids can come to terms with that and they can say their goodbyes and everything. So with what happened with Sophie, prepared me for that. And I know that's an awful thing to say. So that was a lesson I learned. I learned it the hard way, and trust me, I really learned the hard way. Because as bad as I feel every damn day about what happened with Sophie, and people will never understand, and that includes my wife, my family, nobody will ever understand what I personally put myself through, let alone what I put Sophie through and my daughter Amy through. People will never understand that. And I have to have the guilt every day. And people say, oh yeah, but Kevin, you shouldn't feel guilty. But in my book, I should, because it should have never happened. And there's only one person responsible for that. And that's me. Now, obviously I know that Amy's been watching some of my videos, or so I've been told she has been. So all I can do, really, is apologise to her. Say I'm sorry. If she wants to speak, she knows she can get hold of me at any time. And as soon as she's ready, she can. Other than that, there's not a lot else I can do or say, apart from say I'm sorry. And hope sooner rather than later we can resolve our problems. Because I'm not here to slate your mother. There are things I could say, but I'm not about to say, because it's not right for me to do. Because she's just as guilty as I am. Not as guilty, nowhere near as guilty, but she is as guilty as I am. And the one thing I learned, and Sophie knows this point blank because I've explained this to her, I never saw my father really until I was 18 years of age. And still to this day now, I'm 46, I'm 47 on the 3rd of August, 3 days before your birthday. And still to this day, I have my own mother and father argue and pass blame on each other. Now, my parents, but I never had plans for you ever meeting, and I mean that, separated in about 1980, 1982, and they still can't say a civil word to either each other. They never came to my wedding. They refused to be at my wedding to my wife. They never came to our wedding renewals. They never came to any of my kids' christenings or baptisms, whatever you want to call it. They refused to attend Christmas, Easter, parties, a lot of it, because they can't be civil to each other. And the one thing I can say is, I don't want that to happen to you. So I've actually come to terms with what's happened. And all I want to do now is go full circle and resolve them problems. So I'm not going to talk for any more because I think I've spoken for long enough at 22 minutes. So thanks for listening. Obviously, Amy, if you do want to get in contact or speak to me, you know what to do. You know how to get hold of me anyway. But for now, thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you all again a bit later.